What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and today it's the Gameweek22 preview series. So I've gone through on Twitter, YouTube, asked you for your questions, topics and that kind of thing for the upcoming game week, and I've selected 8 topics to go through as well as captaincy as always. So before we jump into that, I did want to say the video has been sponsored by OneFootball once again. If you've not checked it out, it's a completely free football app, lineup news, team news, general footballing news, obviously league tables, live scores, all that good stuff that you need as an FPL manager. So make sure to check it out if you haven't already. Link in the description below, or just search OneFootball on Android and iOS devices. Give it a go, completely free, see what you think. So first up we have Nick Pope replacements. Came up quite a bit actually. I'm a Nick Pope owner and looking at getting rid of him. Obviously when you talk about replacements, you've always got to talk about whether it's the right time to get rid of him. And if you look at Burnley, and I've kind of been looking right up until kind of game week 33, 36, somewhere around them, because you know you're going to use the second wild card. Maybe not as early as game week kind of 32, 33, but definitely by game week 36, most of you will have used it. So that's kind of the fixture period I'm looking at, because you don't want to spend too many transfers on goalkeepers. The ceiling just isn't there. And if you look at the kind of fixture tickets and stuff on Fantasy Football Scout, then up to game week 33, 36, Burnley are absolutely bottom of that. And like I said, wild cards will be out at that point. And to be fair, in the short term as well, it's not like they've got good fixtures. So Chelsea, Leicester, Man United and Arsenal to come. And if you look at the next, that's in the next 4. If you look at the next 9, you can also add Spurs and Man City to that. So it's pretty difficult for Burnley over the next coming weeks. So I'm definitely looking at getting rid of him. He's also only had 2 scores of 6 or above over the last 8 fixtures. So not someone I want to keep, definitely someone I want to get rid of. And I finally I've been putting it off a little bit just because I've had other transfers to deal with. And I think even with double game week planning, I've got a spare transfer for Pope now. So I'm considering getting rid. Now, if you look at the top 3 saves for the whole season, you've got Dubravka, Leno and Matt Ryan. Now, you've got to take that into context. Perhaps Arteta coming in will improve Arsenal defensively, but that might mean less shots to save for Leno. We'll have to see about that. Now, Dubravka and Leno are obviously a little bit more expensive. And while the defence has looked a bit better under Arteta for Arsenal, and I don't doubt he will improve them. Obviously, he's had a good kind of teaching from Pep Guardiola. Obviously, a great team in Man City, and he wants to probably get Arsenal playing similarly. It's just, do I trust them enough to bring them in? There's also blank game weeks to consider. They might get a blank game week, I think, in game week 28 because of League Cup fixtures and stuff like that. So I like Leno as a potential punt, but I'm probably a bit too put off. The player that I'm looking at is Matt Ryan for Brighton. They've got pretty good fixtures right up until game week 33. And in general, Ryan's the keeper that we know about. We know he's going to get you save points. We know we're going to get clean sheets along the way as well. So I think Brighton looking okay. You got Bournemouth too with good fixtures, but if you already own Rico, I don't think a double up is worth it. And Bournemouth looking a spot of trouble to me as well, so I'm not sure I'd want to be getting their goalkeeper in right now. So Matt Ryan's probably my front runner. I do like Dubravka. Obviously, if you've got more money to spend, Schmeichel maybe for a Leicester double up. There's Henderson as well, but again, I'm not sure. Although I said this before, I'm not sure I want to double up on Sheffield United defence just at the moment. So for me, it's looking like Matt Ryan if you want to get rid of Pope, which looks like it's a good time to do it. Then Calvert-Lewin versus Maupay, and I've put Ings in brackets because he didn't really get mentioned in this discussion, but obviously he's around a similar price. He has gone up quite a bit now, but in terms of 7 million or below, these 3 are probably the ones to look at. So obviously don't forget Ings, but if you're looking for a cheaper option, Calvert-Lewin versus Maupay. So if you look at fixtures, they're quite similar. So Everton, Brighton at home, West Ham away, Newcastle at home, Watford away and Palace at home. So the West Ham and Watford games are away to teams with new managers. Could be difficult enough, but overall the fixtures are pretty good for Everton. And then Brighton, obviously, they've got the reverse fixture. So Everton away this week, they play each other. Then Villa at home, Bournemouth away, West Ham away again, and they play Watford, although at home. So the fixtures are very, very similar for the 2. Now Brighton, so we're talking about Maupay first, they've played Sheffield United, Spurs, Bournemouth and Chelsea in the last 4. So not the easiest fixtures, but Maupay has only had 2 shots in the box. And that would be a little bit worrying for me, I think. Obviously, you'd expect that to improve with the fixtures. But in the same time, he's only had 7 shots total. Like I said, 2 in the box. And only created 2 chances as well. Whereas if you look at Calvert-Lewin, he's had 12 shots, 11 of them in the box. And he's created 5 chances as well. Arguably, he's got the better team around him as well. Potentially better manager as well. Ancelotti, you have to see what he can do with this Everton team. Obviously, the FA Cup result against Liverpool was not good. But Calvert-Lewin's stats are way more similar to someone like Danny Ings, and obviously we know how well he's doing right now. So out of the 2, I think given that the fixtures are similar and the stats are just much better for Calvert-Lewin, and he scored a few more goals recently as well, he's probably the one I'd look at. But obviously if you don't have Danny Ings, you've still got to consider him as well. Double game week prep, there is other game weeks. This happens every single year. We get fixated on double game weeks, and to be honest, rightly so in some cases. They do provide a lot of points. I've seen people discussing this on Twitter that you shouldn't forget the other game weeks as well. And I do agree, there's lots to talk about with double game weeks. And obviously this week I did get another load of questions about Salah versus Mane, double attack versus double defence. And I don't want to go through it every single week. I spoke about it last week, and I'm sure on streams and stuff we'll be speaking about it again. And obviously there are still points to be had in game week 22 and 23. I'm making a goalkeeper transfer for Christ's sake this week. But on the flip side, I did use transfers last week to kind of start preparing for Liverpool double game week. So they are important. I don't think that we should completely ignore game week 22 and 23, but you've got to think ahead. If you want 3 Liverpool players and they are expensive, then you've got to figure out how you're going to get the cash. And if you can make some transfers now to start preparing while getting in a good player for the upcoming game weeks, and I don't think there's any harm in that. I did that with Traore. Whether or not that works out, we'll have to wait and see. But there we go. Don't necessarily focus all your time on double game week prep, but obviously it is still an important time of the year. And that being said, we're going to talk about triple Liverpool defence. Now, like I said, I've spoken about double attack, double defence quite a bit. But now people are asking about triple Liverpool defence. So it's a little bit different, which is why I included it in this video. Now, I'm not too sure where I stand on this. I think they've been great defensively. Okay, I think it's 5 game weeks in a row now with a clean sheet. Obviously, Gomez came in, looked really good. So I can see why people are looking at the triple up, maybe save a bit of money and not go in Salah or Mane. First question will be, who do you captain in that double game week? Because you're going to want to captain a Liverpool player. Now, arguably, you could captain Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's just as good as Salah or Mane. Obviously, gets forward, gets attacking returns, and he has defensive potential as well. So if you're comfortable captaining a defender, I don't think it will be as bad as some of us captaining Shane Duffy last season. But if you're comfortable with that, then absolutely you should think about it. I think Wolves away and West Ham away, I don't see 2 clean sheets necessarily. I know that's hard to back against a defence that is this good right now. But I can see one of those teams scoring, probably more likely Wolves, Jimenez, someone like that. The other thing I would say, and this isn't like a logical thing, this isn't stats-based what I think will happen with that defence, but you have to be an FPL manager that can take disappointment, I think, if you go triple defence, especially a triple Liverpool defence when you're ignoring Mane or Salah, obviously. Because if one goal goes in, that's a clean sheet's ruined. Yes, they can get attacking returns, but when they lose a clean sheet, how much are you really expecting Van Dijk, Robertson and Trent all to get an attacking return? Now, they don't necessarily have to get them all in one game, of course. They could get points in the next game, and they do have the potential to rack up double-figure hauls. But for me, it was just that thing. Like, if I watch the first game and they concede in the first couple of minutes, obviously it's unlikely just because of how good they are defensively. But if they do, that'll put a massive downer on your double game week. So that's not a stats-based thing. That's just like a psychological thing. If you're one of those FPL managers that gets disappointed easily and starts rage transferring, I don't think triple up on Liverpool defence is for you, but it could obviously return the points. You never know. So Kane replacements came up quite a bit. So did Alli and Abraham. I think people are more obviously getting rid of Kane because he's injured and he's going to need to be replaced at the moment. There's so many potential replacements obviously in the forward line that I can't go into every single one. I've already mentioned loads of them. Ings, Calvert-Lewin, Maupay, Jimenez, Aguero potentially, Rashford, Abraham, the list kind of goes on. So the one that kept coming up is Aguero, and obviously one of the reasons for that is 1, he's back, 2, Man City are a very good team, and 3, probably more importantly, he's obviously a similar price point to Kane. So Kane owners have already got that structure in place just to switch straight to Aguero, which is super handy. So the next 2 look really good, Villa away and Palace at home, especially that Villa game. All season they've been conceding plenty of shots, and that doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. So that could be a nice fixture to bring him in for. Obviously, the main issue for me with Aguero is, can you expect him to start every week? Obviously, he's come back from injury. Jesus has done okay in that Man City team. Will he play the majority of games? Probably. But when they're Sheffield United away, Spurs away, West Ham at home, Leicester away, so 3 tough away games in the next 4 after the 2 I mentioned, then Arsenal and Man United. For me, that's just not fixtures I'd want to be bringing Aguero in. Too much worry about rotation, too much worry about blank fixtures. And ultimately, that's not who I would go with if I own Kane, I don't think. Granted, though, if you were going to wildcard soon, if that was in your plans, then Villa away could be a massive differential captain opportunity for Aguero. I think about the double game week. I know I just said don't think about it too much, but you know it is going to be on your minds. If you need the cash for Liverpool players, then you could downgrade Kane right to a kind of Calvert-Lewin, Maupay, Ings, Jimenez gives you lots of money. I think I've kind of gone off Rashford a little bit. I think this week is a good fixture, but after that I'm probably looking at offloading him. I don't know if he's worth the cash right now. Obviously, if you've not got Vardy, he's the number 1 replacement. Even now, Southampton at home, I think is a decent fixture this week. Or you could go for Firmino if you wanted a bit of a differential for the double. Firmino is obviously going to be owned by a lot less than Mane or Salah, so you could go there as well. So the other one, if you're sticking to kind of price points, is Aubameyang, second highest scoring forward. Kind of gone under the radar, maybe even better under Arteta, you never know. Palace away, Sheffield United at home, Chelsea away and Burnley away. So again, not the greatest fixtures to bring him in for. but potentially not a bad replacement for Kane. So plenty of players you could go for. I like Aguero for this week. I'm just not sure about long term. CDB, he keeps coming up. I think it's getting to the point now where he's only 1.7% owned, so it's not like he's massively. It's still a massive differential, but in the FPL community, he's been talked about a lot, so you'd kind of be forgiven for thinking that he's in everyone's teams already. Obviously, he's not. There's a lot of hype around him. Whether or not that will kind of play out, we don't know. But the fixtures look good. I've already spoken about Everton fixtures: Brighton, West Ham, Newcastle, Watford, Palace. 5.4 million, so he's not massively cheap. He's not like a kind of 4.5 million player, but it's not too bad either. 6 chances created over the last 4 game weeks. He's only beaten by Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson and Mendy, so he's in pretty good company. He's had 4 goal attempts, which puts him 4th in terms of goal attempts. There's lots of defenders around that level, but he's also the best for baseline bonus points. So what that means is, out of all defenders, when you take out attack and returns, for just basically his defensive performances and what he does in a game, he's top. So if Everton keep a clean sheet, he's going to be right up there for bonus points, whether he gets kind of attacking returns or not. Obviously, if they smash the team 5-0, then it's likely the attackers will get them. But CDB is going to be good for bonus points. And obviously, we've seen him play forward under Ancelotti, so further forward than right back, right wing back, and right midfield. So I quite like him. I think the fixtures are good. There's a differential potential there, 1.7%. If you've got a spare transfer, you need a defender. He looks like he could be a good one right now. Tammy Abraham and Alli, are they worth keeping? So Alli had kind of a purple patch. I brought him in. He only scored 1 goal in the last 5 fixtures, no assists. So he looks a bit out of form right now. Last 4 game weeks, 4 chances created, 5 shots in the box. He's okay, but it's nothing kind of special, especially when you're paying out nearly 9 million, potentially more than 9 million for him. And then the next lot of fixtures: Liverpool at home, difficult. Watford away wasn't difficult. Now it seems like it is. Norwich at home and then City at home. So the next 4 fixtures aren't even that good either. I don't think he's necessarily a massive, go out and rush to sell him. I don't like those fixtures. I think he is quite a high price. Stats aren't great. And 1 goal in 5 is not good enough for that price either. And I think there's better options out there that are cheaper. Grealish, maybe not this week's, plays Man City, but ultimately he's been decent. Madison looks really good again. Richarlison too. So there's plenty of options you go for there. Again, if you need a bit of money for future planning, I won't mention the D word. If you need a double game week word, that is, I'll leave that in the video, I won't cut it out. But double game week, if you need a bit of money for that, then yeah, you could downgrade Alli. I think Abraham is still posting some pretty nice stats. So 11 shots in the box over the last 4. Only 1 chance is created, so you're really relying on goals with him. Fixtures, okay, this week Burnley at home, but then it's Newcastle away, Arsenal, Leicester, Man United, Spurs. So again, it gets pretty difficult. So if you're thinking of shipping him out for like Calvert-Lewin or Pay or Ings or whoever it might be, I think it's a good time to do it. I'm just not sure this is the week to do it. So I know sometimes you get these players kind of like 1 more week syndrome. You just keep them for 1 more week, then it's another week, then it's another week. But I think Burnley at home, and then maybe think about getting rid of him. And then a free hit in Game Week 24. Like I said, I wasn't going to keep talking about the double game week, so here we are talking about it again. But I do think it's important, because obviously if you're going to plan to use your free hit in Game Week 24, then that's going to affect your transfers running up to it, because you're not going to need to necessarily get in players like Salah or Mane if you don't want to keep them longer term. The key point is, I think Liverpool's fixtures are so good after the double, you are going to want to keep them anyway. So if you're free hitting, who are you bringing in? Leicester's got West Ham, good fixture. Most people already own Vardy plus 1 other at least Leicester player. Spurs versus Norwich, I mean, that could be a good fixture, but in the form Spurs are in, I'm not sure how much I trust them. No Kane, could go for a Sun differential. Man United versus Burnley, again, how much do you trust Man United? And Man City are playing Sheffield United away, which is going to be really difficult. So I'm not saying you shouldn't free hit in Game Week 24. Obviously, if your team's a mess and you don't want to keep planning for the double game week and you want to save those fixtures or save those transfers for something else, you could free hit. But for me, I just think it's going to be handier later on. Most of the players you want, you're probably already going to own. Obviously, you have to look at your own team. So it's just not good for Game Week 24, I don't think. So I'm going to blitz through Captaincy, because I appreciate these preview videos are starting to get a bit longer and longer as the weeks go on. I know some people hate that, some people probably don't mind it, but let's get through Captaincies. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 standouts here. So Spurs versus Liverpool, like I said, it's an interesting one. Spurs aren't doing too great recently. It feels like there's maybe a few cracks starting to appear with Mourinho. Maybe a few of the excuses are coming out already. So I think it's not the worst time to play a Mourinho Spurs side. But of course, what would he like to do more in this game than get a clean sheet? Absolutely going to try and park the bus, I think. Whether or not he can do that against Liverpool is obviously a different story. And I think, you know, if someone tried to argue for Mane or Salah captain for me this week, then I definitely would not argue against it. I still think they look great. Salah's got the stats, you know, kind of shooting a lot more, etc. But Mane always gets into good positions and gets good quality shots off as well. So both of them could be good captaincy options. Not for me, I don't think, because I'd just be worried that Spurs will keep the score down, make it difficult for Liverpool. But again, I don't think you can really argue against it too much. Leicester versus Southampton on paper is probably the standout, but Southampton have improved recently. Over the last 4 game weeks, they've conceded the third least amount of shots in the box, which is pretty impressive defensively. That being said, Vardy's had a bit of a rest now. Obviously, didn't do anything against Liverpool, Man City, probably expected. Missed the last 2 games. One was through a bit of an injury, but you'd hope he'd be back this week. We'll have to see what Rodgers says. It should be fresh enough, I would say. So I think it's a good option. I think as good as Southampton have been, Leicester have been brilliant this season. If Vardy's back and firing, I just don't see why he wouldn't be a great captain pick this week, especially at home. So he's probably where my armband is going to go currently. Villa versus Man City. I think this is an interesting one because I do think most people are going to captain Vardy, but I think De Bruyne could be really good. Like I said, Aston Villa continue to concede a lot of shots in the box. They have done all season. They're top again for the last 4. Now, they did make a formation switch in the last game, played 3 at the back. That might help them, but I'm not sure it will against Man City. So I think De Bruyne or Aguero could have a field day. Like I said earlier, I think Aguero, massive differential, and De Bruyne, if he plays forward, will be a great pick again this week. And then Man United versus Norwich. I think, I mean, a lot of Rashford owners are probably annoyed with him right now. I actually think he's done okay in the last few weeks. I mean, for me, like I spoke about in the last video, obviously got that last-minute goal, which really helped me out as captain. And I think Norwich will attack. You know, Arsenal were very good defensively, and they did attack, and Man United couldn't counter. I don't think that'll be the same story against Norwich. They're not going to sit back deep. They're going to want to play out from the back and play against Man United. Man United did win 3-1 in the reverse fixture. Rashford got a goal and an assist. Not saying that will obviously repeat itself, but it's at Old Trafford this time. And like I said, I think Norwich will attack and Man United will probably have some space in behind, whether they'll play counter-attacking or actually be able to create some chances elsewhere. Who knows? I mean, McTominay out, Pogba out as well is not good for the midfield, which is what is putting me off Rashford at the moment. So I like that as a punt against Norwich, but I think De Bruyne versus Aston Villa and Vardy versus Southampton, definitely the 2 standouts. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you did. Much appreciated as always. The support on the channel this year, this season, etc. has been great as always. So make sure to give the video a like. It does help me out. Subscribe if you're new around here. Hit that notification bell if you want to know when all my other videos are coming out, when I'm live streaming, which should be 9 o'clock on Thursday evening as normal this week. Kind of back to a little bit of normality before we get another midweek fixture. And if you haven't already tried out OneFootball, make sure you do. It's completely free. Link in the description below. It works on Android, iOS devices, or you can obviously just search in the store as well. And leave a comment below. Let me know if you've got any thoughts about what I've said, any other questions and stuff going into Game Week 22. Otherwise, I'll leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will catch you next time.